Welcome back to the Honolulu Cheese Podcast. I am your host, Ryan, and today I am joined by absolutely nobody. This is a solo dolo episode. You might have noticed I missed the last one. Shout out to Mito and Matt for holding it down. I was semi-dying. I had a fever, chills, sore throat, you name it, I had it. I was not in good shape. I wanted to come on so badly. It came up to it, and Moran was being a good older brother and convinced me to take the day off. And it was a good choice because I could not do it. But I so badly wanted to because I knew they were going to make that dumbass joke about me running away from a loss. But anyway, you know what I'm really sick of, honestly, is the Lions offense. So I just wanted to come give my thoughts quickly on the Vikings game and the trade deadline coming and going. I know I'm about 7 days late by now, but I said I would do it, and here I am. So I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to keep it. So the Lions offense, man, where do I begin? One thing that's not being talked about enough, and I'll cover all the rest, is simply penalties, man. This is so, like, 2018 Detroit Lions I'm feeling right now. You know, not even that specific year, just that time period where we just couldn't get out of our own way. And it feels like even when things are going okay, we're getting first downs, we're getting yards, someone somewhere just does something dumb. And whether it's a false start or an illegal shift or an offensive hold, like whatever it may be, something just kills the drive. And I know Amon-Ra mentioned it either yesterday or today, but he used the word flow that is missing from the Lions offense right now. And I couldn't agree more, Big surprise, a football player knows what he's talking about. It's missing right now. And I feel like that's what the penalties are made of. It's just a lack of flow. It's a lack of guys being where they need to be. It's a lack of cohesion and cohesiveness. It's not good. And we just feel very out of sync is the easiest way to put it. I know John Morton has said that the scheme against the Vikings was good, and you have players like, I believe Graham Glasgow came out and said that the scheme was not good. I'm going with the players on that one. And I mentioned this in the TikTok video, the reaction video I did after the game. When you see Minnesota blitzing from the first play of the game, it's like in Madden when you pick engage 8 and your entire team just goes after the QB. And we don't adjust for it all game. There was zero adjustment for that. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. Like, the Vikings they've had a bad season. They're not a bad team. Like, they've had injuries. They got a little healthier on Sunday. And you can't do that. We're calling plays on offense that take 5 seconds to develop when you only have 3. And I'm no mathematician, but that tells me you don't have enough time and that your quarterback is going to get pressured, which he did on almost a majority of his dropbacks on Sunday. You have to incorporate some sort of quick slant or, my mind went to a screen and I said, please God, no more. It was not a good game for John Morton. It's as simple as that. Am I marching down Michigan Avenue right now with torch and pitchfork? No, I'm not there yet. I think we've had this reaction to him, a la week 1 against Green Bay, and then week 2 turned out to be fine, right? And then we put up like 50 on the Bears sooner than later, and everything is good. So I do think there's time to figure this out. I think our offense is too talented to stay this down, but we do have issues. Our offensive line is an issue. We are missing Frank Ragnow, man. And I coped so hard when that guy retired, and I told myself it'll be fine. It's very not fine right now. And it's showing. It really is. And it's showing in our run game. We cannot get our run game going. It just doesn't look right. I was saying the same thing about Green Bay. We're having the same problem. When Jahmyr Gibbs only has 25 all-purpose yards or whatever the hell it was, you have a major, major issue on your hands. We have to get that going. And so here's another thing I wanted to mention. With the lack of run game comes a lack of play action, which is Jared Goff's strength with the Lions that we've seen over the past 3 years. When you can't run the ball, teams are not going to be fooled by your play action, and you're going to get in your own head as an OC and not call for play action as much, which again cuts off the flow to your offense that's been doing this for the past 3 years. Like, the Lions offense in 2025 it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Like, these guys have been together forever at this point, in football standards, I guess. So if we don't figure that part out, there will be no Super Bowl. Like, it really is that simple. And we can talk about not free agents. We can talk about trades and free agents and whatever you want. But the roster is good enough to win now. They're just not playing like it. And it's okay to admit that. And it's okay to put blame on the coaches for that. That's their problem to figure out. I say it all the time. Coaching is everything. And I will have that written on my tombstone someday. Like, it really does come down to it. And speaking of which, Kelvin Shepherd on the other side had a phenomenal game, I think. It was not a good first quarter. We know that. They put up 14. JJ looked like Patrick Mahomes out there, just scrambling and completing throws he shouldn't complete. Aaron Jones looked like prime Aaron Jones for the first time in a really long time. But having said all that, they didn't score that many points. Like, we held our ground. And quick shout out, by the way, to Terrion Arnold, who had arguably his best game as a Detroit Lion. And I'm so sad that that's overshadowed by an ugly loss, because he's needed a game like that. And his first interception, which was a baller interception, by the way. So, yeah, our run game is broken. Our special teams, man, Dave Phipp, I'm about to Dave flip out on that guy. Please excuse the pun, that was terrible. But, like, the return yardage we gave up, there should have been a touchdown return for the Vikings that luckily got called back for us. But our special teams continuously put us in bad spots on Sunday. And that's always been a strength for this team. So you have your run game, which is a former strength, that's now become a weakness. You have your special teams, which was a strength, that's now become a weakness. It's not a surprise that we lost that game. And it's not a surprise that we don't look very good right now. And I know, like, the more I talk about it, the more I feel like this is doomsday. And I swear I'm not there yet. But the lack of pass protection I saw, and the lack of adjustment I saw with you keeping, I know Moran and Matt talked about this, with you keeping Jahmyr Gibbs on pass protection and leaving him on an island against two blitzing linebackers at a time, he's not going to do it. Like, that's not what he's there for. He can at times. Is he going to do it that much in one game? No. And honestly, we shouldn't expect that. No excuse. I mean, he's got to be better, for sure. He'll be the first one to tell you that, Gibbs that is, but they should never be that way. I don't know, man. Like, you want to talk about third downs too on offense? Like, man, what are we, like 22nd in the league in third down conversion right now? It's scary out here. It's scary to have a third down. What was that stat? We're the only team that hasn't converted a 3rd and 10 plus so far this year, and we're going into week 10. I mean, we're one of the best offenses in the league. That something's not jiving. So our offensive issues on the offensive line have been glossed over so far this year, but now they're in full swing, which brings us to the trade deadline. Man, I'm a strong believer in the trust in Brad, okay? And I still am. I've said it time and time again on this show. Trust in Brad. However, you can trust someone, but still question what the fuck is going on, okay? So when you see your secondary just getting depleted for the second year in a row with injuries, it surprises me that we can't make one move to go get a cornerback so that we're not starting our second, third string guys. It surprises me that we can't go trade for a seasoned guard so we're not starting two new guys up there in your Super Bowl window. I mean, I feel everyone's frustration, and I understand it. It's valid. It's valid, especially when you see your friends over there in Philadelphia always making moves. And this is what I hate about the trade deadline this year, is that people are defending Brad Holmes by trying to put Howie Roseman down, dissecting his moves and saying, well, here's why this wouldn't work. Here's one that he did that didn't work, and you want Brad to do the same thing. That would mean that we don't re-sign J-Mo and blah, 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 blah. Like, you're going down this rabbit hole of, like, the what-about-isms, right? And the difference between Brad Holmes and Howie Roseman is a Super Bowl. And not just an appearance, a victory. It's not any Lions fan's right, where we sit here today, to question another GM who's won a Super Bowl. That, to me, is stupid. We have not earned that right to do that yet. I love Brad Holmes. I'm happy he's here. I hope he stays forever. But he's not beyond criticism, and he's not beyond questioning as to why we can't do that. It feels, and so this is where the frustration comes as a Detroit fan too, and my Tigers, Red Wings fans, you'll understand this part. Even the Pistons, but they're playing well right now, first in the East, thank you. It feels like these teams get in these windows and they don't want to take that next step. And I'm not as strong on that train as other people. Like, I understand that you can't just play Madden out here and go haywire. But yeah, I think the Tigers should re-sign Tarek Skubal. Duh. Yeah, I think the Lions should have acquired another defensive end or a corner at the trade deadline. Duh. Well, why not? We're going to trade up for Isaac Tesla and give away third-round picks for that, but he's not even being featured in the offense. So these are the kinds of things that start to have you scratching your head a little bit, and it's unfortunate that the trade deadline came right after a really bad loss. That's really bad timing for Brad Holmes, and I feel, that sucks. But that frustration's been building for some time, and we've seen this. When your biggest acquisitions at the trade deadline have been Zadarius Smith, which is a good one, for sure, and Donovan Peoples-Jones a couple of years ago, I mean, come on, man. Like, you got to give us something, right? Like, you have to give us something more to be excited about than that. And to reassure us that we are going for it. I think that's all we want. Win or lose, we're going for it. Do I believe the roster? I said this before. The roster is good enough to win right now. Yes. Will we? I don't know. Do I feel comfortable right now with the roster? Sure. Yeah, we could. Could I feel more comfortable? Absolutely. And that's kind of where I'm at. So yes, I wanted us to make a move. We didn't. It came and went. So we have. Having said all that, we have the second most sacks in the NFL. So I could be eating crow as soon as the playoffs roll around, or even sooner, and I'll be the first to admit it. But I do feel everyone's frustration, and I don't. We're not privy to these conversations. We're not privy to how long Brad was talking on the phone with anybody, or how many calls he did make. I want to give him benefit of the doubt, obviously, and assume that he is making calls and he just didn't like the deals that were being offered, and so be it. That's his job. So that's what we entrust him with, and we trust in Brad. And that's where I'll leave it. So thank you to everybody for tuning in for this surprise episode. I'm happy you're here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. And by the way, side note, I just finished watching Primal Fear with the wife. which is a movie from 1995, like Richard Gere, Edward Norton. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to go do that. You can rent it on Apple TV or whatever for like $5. It's awesome. I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, I like movies a lot, and that one kind of blew me away. So go watch that. I just mentioned it because it's fresh in my mind, and we're talking about things we're scared of in the Lions offense anyway. So Primal Fear, go do that. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, may your Kool-Aid stay blue, and we'll leave it at that. Have a good day.